I finished writing a novel last year. 12 years in Bangkok, over a decade teaching teenagers how to write essays about books that I love. And at some point I thought, if I'm going to keep standing in front of a classroom and telling other people how to put a story together, I should probably do it myself first. So I did. I have no idea if it's good, but I think it might be. This is the whole story. My name's Robin. I'm from Scotland originally, Glasgow specifically, which will become relevant in about 30 seconds. And I moved to Bangkok when I was 21 years old, thinking I'd stay for a year. That was 12 years ago. Bangkok is a way of doing that to people. During the day I teach high school English, literature, creative writing, essay technique. I've spent over a decade watching teenagers struggle with stories, with finding something real to say and figuring out how to say it. Some of them are brilliant, most of them think they're not. That gap between what students are capable of and what they believe about themselves is something I think about a lot. And somewhere in those 12 years of teaching, living in this city, watching Bangkok from the inside, something started forming. A story I couldn't stop thinking about, so I wrote it down. The novel is called Where Silence Rings. It's the first in a series I'm calling the Siam Syndicate. Here's the pitch. A sacred amulet vanishes from a Bangkok temple under impossible circumstances, leaving behind cryptic poetic clues that make no sense and point nowhere obvious. 3 people get pulled into the investigation: an incorruptible detective who plays everything by the book, a hardened ex-soldier who absolutely does not, and a teacher who quietly, perceptively, slightly out of his depth, notices things that the other 2 miss. What starts as a theft becomes something much larger, a conspiracy running through Bangkok's temples, shadows, tied to power, faith, a criminal empire that's been hiding in plain sight. And underneath all of it, a question that the book keeps asking without quite answering: when silence itself seems to be watching, who do you trust? I'm not going to give you more than that today, partly because I don't want to spoil it, but honestly, partly because I'm still learning how to talk about it without sounding like every other crime novel pitch you've ever heard. What I can tell you is this. It took 3 drafts, it nearly broke me twice. There's a character in there who surprised me completely, and I'm pretty sure it's going to change the whole series in ways I didn't plan for. And the city, Bangkok, isn't just a setting, it's a character. 12 years of living here gave me something no amount of research could have. You'll meet all of it eventually. Now, publishing. I'm going to be straight with you about where I am with this because I honestly think this is more interesting than a polished answer. I'm in my 3rd draft, the book is nearly done, and the question of what happens next, I genuinely don't know yet. Traditional publishing is on the table. I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't love a publisher in London or New York or Bangkok to take a chance on this. I'm exploring that route, querying agents, reaching out, seeing what's out there. Southeast Asian crime fiction is having a moment, and I think there's a real audience for what I've written. But I'm also looking seriously at self-publishing. And I want to be clear, that's not a consolation prize. It's a legitimate path that gives you control over your cover, your timeline, your rights, your relationship with the readers. I designed the cover myself. I've done the editing, the metadata, the whole thing. Do I know which way this goes? No. And I think that uncertainty is actually part of the story worth telling, because this channel isn't just about the finished book, it's about all of it. The decisions, the mistakes, the moments where I genuinely don't know what I'm doing. That's the part most authors don't show, and I want to show you. So here's what you'll actually find here. The novel journey, from where I am right now, 3rd draft on the table, through to whatever publishing route I choose, launch, and everything that comes after that. All of it documented, the stuff that works, the stuff that doesn't, writing craft, because I've spent 12 years teaching people how to write and I've got things to say about it. Not theory, practical stuff. What actually works on a page and why. Essays, fiction, the mechanics of storytelling that I've watched transform students who thought they couldn't write. Books. I read a lot of crime fiction, I have opinions, some of them are probably wrong, and I'd love you to tell me why. And teaching, specifically how to get teenagers to actually care about English, which is harder than it sounds, more interesting than most people think, and something I've become quietly obsessed with over the last decade. Bangkok runs through all of it. Not as a postcard, as a place I actually know. The streets, the culture, the expat world that exists alongside Thailand, but slightly outside of it. The gap between worlds is where my novel lies. It's where I live too. I'm building this from scratch. Small channel, unpublished novel, 12 years in a city most people only visit for a long weekend. I don't know exactly where this goes, but I know the book is nearly done. I know Bangkok has given me something worth writing about, and I know that documenting this whole thing honestly, including the parts that go wrong, is more interesting than waiting until I have something polished to show for it. If any of that sounds like your kind of thing, subscribe. There's going to be a new video every week. Next week I want to talk about something I've been thinking a lot about lately. Why students who say they hate reading almost never actually do. See you then.